Wulong Fallen Dynasty is finally here and it's massive. Lots of combat mechanics, places to explore, hard encounters and more that we will discuss about in the upcoming minutes. I'll try to avoid spoiling as much as possible, so mostly I'll include only footage from the first hours of gameplay, which are meant only to explain the 10 beginner tips and tricks that you should know in your first hours of gameplay. But before we jump right in, a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel would be super awesome. There's more great content coming next, so definitely make sure to also hit the notification bell and get notified when a new video comes out. So first of all, Wulong is a hard game. I'd say even harder than Elden Ring, but this is just my personal opinion. So given this fact, let's talk about combat and what you should do right from the very beginning to make the most out of this game. Mastering the deflecting windows is definitely a top priority, and it's basically almost impossible to advance in the game without mastering it. Right before an attack lands on you, press the circle button on your controller while having the L1 button pressed. The L1 button is going to defend you against most of the normal attacks, but for the red ones, which are critical blows, you'll have to deflect them using the circle button. And if you practice that, you'll enjoy it a lot. Of course, for the Elden Ring or Dark Souls players, this will be much easier, but for the average one, it's going to take a while to master it. Each enemy has different attacking mechanics, and it's going to take a while until you learn all their moves. So with each successful deflect and attack, you'll deplete the enemy spirit, and that will allow you to perform a fatal strike by pressing the triangle button, which deals a lot of damage. Again, lots of benefits if you master the deflecting windows, so definitely pay attention to that, because otherwise you'll have a very rough time advancing in the game. And this brings us to the mission strategy elements, which are battle flags, fortitude rank and marking flags. You'll find two types of flags scattered throughout the stages: battle flags and marking flags. Marking flags are slightly smaller than battle flags, they only give one fortitude rank, and you can't access the travel menu using these. So both will give you fortitude rank, and that means your moral can't fall below that fortitude rank when you die or you get hit by a fatal enemy strike. For example, if your fortitude rank is 7, your moral will never fall below 7 even if you die. Meanwhile, if you have, let's say, 10 moral rank but 0 fortitude, your moral is going to decrease to 0 when you die, or gradually decrease whenever hit by enemy critical attacks. So definitely pay attention to these, as moral highly impacts the amount of damage you deal and the amount of damage you receive. Without a good moral rank and deflecting mastery, there's no chance you can defeat even the first boss. So as soon as you see one, make sure to mark it, and that will instantly heal you, add to your fortitude rank and replenish your healing pots. Moreover, you'll have access to different menus, you can travel to other locations, call for reinforcements, sell useless gear and more that we will talk about in the upcoming videos. Chi is the third on our list, and yet another important element you'll want to keep an eye on. Each time you defeat an enemy, your Chi will increase, and that means you can level up when you have the necessary amount. If you die, you'll lose half of your genuine Chi. However, you can defeat that enemy and reclaim your lost Chi, and enemies who stolen it by killing you will be indicated by the orange haze surrounding their moral rank in the UI above their heads, and also their location is indicated on the map with this orange line. So like I previously mentioned, when you die, your moral rank will drop to the value of your fortitude rank, and also the moral rank of the enemy will increase by 1, and that means he will deal more damage and take less. After defeating that enemy, you will reclaim both your lost Chi points and moral rank. As you defeat enemies and collect genuine Chi, you will be able to use the battle flag menu to level up if you have the necessary amount. And whenever you reach that threshold which allows you to level up, you'll notice your Chi in the left down corner of your screen turning gold. Warrior alliances is another great feature of the game, and you should definitely keep an eye on these as well. First of all, every ally gives you a buff effect, like for example, Zhao Yun allows you to consume less spirit when deflecting. Each ally has an oath level, and new ally effects will unlock by raising this level, and you can raise this oath level by fighting alongside one another. When the maximum level is reached, the ally will become a sworn brother and you will receive his equipment, which is mostly 4 stars from what I've seen so far. When they reach 0 HP, you can approach and provide aid to return them to battle. If you fail to provide quick aid, the ally will be forced to retreat from battle, and that might be difficult when the enemy puts a lot of pressure, but that's exactly the beauty of this game. Equipment and drop is quite abundant in Wulong and comes in different star gradings. The ones with 4 stars are the best as they give more special effects. You can upgrade the level of your equipment when the blacksmith becomes accessible at a certain point in the story, and those stats will increase depending on the level of the item. But definitely pay attention to your equipment weight, because if the ratio exceeds 70%, dodging becomes less effective. So even though you have a armor with great stats on it, don't use it if it adds a lot to your weight, because combat will be a nightmare for you. If you exceed 100% ratio, you cannot dodge or deflect anymore, and that means certain defeat. Divine Beasts are another great mechanic that you can access starting with Chapter 2. When the Divine Beast gauge in the bottom right corner of the screen is full, you can summon it, which activates a special effect unique to that beast. The Divine Beast gauge accumulates when an enemy is defeated, damage is dealt with each successful fatal strike, and even when damage is taken. If your moral rank is 10 or higher, the effects caused by summoning the Divine Beasts will become more powerful. Like for example, this one creates rock pillars in front of the player upon being summoned. The number of pillars increases when your moral rank is 10 or higher. You can activate it by pressing the square and triangle button at the same time, and as you progress through the game, you'll unlock more beasts. Of course, you can change between them in the battle preparation menu at any battle flag. Keep in mind that you don't have a divine beast at the beginning of the game, but eventually you'll acquire one as you progress. Moving forward, we have the wizardry spells, which are special skills that you can use to give you the upper hand in battle. Those can be learned by selecting Learn Wizardry Spells via Battle Flag menu, and you can set spells that you learned using the Set Wizard Spells menu. Each spell has a required moral rank, and you'll see them highlighted once they are available. There are plenty of them, so definitely pay close attention and see which one works best for you. And when it comes to loot, like I previously mentioned, it's quite abundant. You'll find chests scattered throughout the stages, random loot which you can spot in different places, but also defeating enemies will provide you with equipment pieces. I'd say grab everything you see because you'll need them. Most of the time it's going to be equipment pieces with random ratings, other times upgrading materials, which are very important, but also other consumables that you can use during your encounters. Moreover, there is a certain rare crystal that you can find along the way that will either increase your Dragon Skewer pot capacity by 1 or increase its healing capacity. Make sure to pick up all the gear pieces even if they have poor ratings, as you'll be able to eventually sell them or dismantle them for crafting materials further down the line. Status effects are also important, and it mostly depends on your playstyle. I personally went for more Fire Virtue as it gives more damage, and Water Virtue, which reduces the amount of spirit consumed when deflecting. For the rest, having only 10 points invested is going to carry you until level 80. Of course, we can blend them and have different builds and playstyles, but we'll talk more about that in the upcoming videos. And finally, if the enemies are too strong and you can't advance, here's what you should do. First of all, try raising your moral rank by discovering battle or marking flags and try again. An opponent with a higher moral rank than you will become a great threat, so aim for the same moral rank as your enemy or even more. That's going to decrease the amount of damage you take and increase the amount of damage you deal. If you are defeated too quickly, steady your guard using the L1 button and wait for an opening. Learn your enemy moves, and whenever you see him preparing a critical blow, which are those who glow in red, press the circle button while holding the L1, and that's going to perform a deflect which affects his spirit gauge and gives you an opening to perform a spirit attack using the triangle button. Whenever performing an attack, executing a skillful deflect or using martial arts, that's going to reduce the upper limit of the opponent's spirit gauge until eventually you'll notice them staggered, and that's when you can perform a fatal strike that deals a lot of damage. So that's pretty much it. It's not going to be easy, but if you like hard games, Wulong is definitely bringing a lot to the table, so make sure to check it out. As usual, if you enjoyed this video at any point, please leave a thumbs up as it really helps me, and also subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time, I wish you all a wonderful day.